Welcome to Building Knowledge About Blocks. My name is Erin Del Regno, and I am a member of the Program Quality Assessment Team. During this session, you will be able to recognize the benefits of block play, including why block play is important and what children learn. You will identify block area materials, including block types and accessories, and how to set up the center, including the location, space needed, and additional information. And you will be able to discover how you can support children's learning, how you can get involved and facilitate their learning, and how to incorporate other concepts into block play. Why is block play important? Blocks are a simple material, but they are creative and fun and provide such valuable learning experiences for young children. Block play is open-ended and stimulates learning in all developmental domains: cognitive, physical, social, emotional, and language. Block building is ideal for learning because it involves the whole child while providing an environment that encourages and enhances problem solving. What do children learn during block play? They learn about spatial awareness when they move and arrange blocks. When children build structures and talk about them, they get a chance to use spatial vocabulary like under, over, between, on top of, and inside. Their experiences with block play provide context for these positional words. You can help them practice spatial vocabulary with questions like, where did you put the blue block? Math concepts are more than just size and shape, but length, measurement, matching, comparison and classification, sequencing, sorting, grouping, counting, symmetry, higher and lower, more and less, patterns, fractions, one-to-one correspondence, and seriation. Science concepts include gravity, stability, weight, height, balance, cause and effect, trial and error, and experimentation. Blocks offer a great platform to develop problem-solving and reasoning skills. This can be deliberate, with children consciously working to develop a solution, or as a natural consequence of play, as they learn firsthand what does and what doesn't work, and trying again when something doesn't. Building tall towers takes patience, concentration, and a good deal of accuracy in motor skills and coordination. Children will develop both their large and small muscles, including dexterity and strength in their fingers, hands, and arms, as they reach for, lift, and move pieces around. Hand-eye coordination is built as they learn how to determine exactly where they should place a block to keep a tower balanced, and then use their hands to carry out that decision. Socially, children will work together, cooperate, and communicate with each other during this play. They will share opinions, make plans, negotiate, compromise, share resources, and take turns. You will also see them act things out with the people figurines. They base this on what they see adults do. Emotionally, they will be building self-esteem and confidence. They will have feelings of success and accomplishment, resourcefulness when overcoming frustration, and self-control, as many of their projects will require some patience. Creatively, blocks are open-ended. Children will make their own designs. Children are motivated and encouraged to think and create something by themselves or with others. So they stretch their imagination in order to decide what it will be and how it should or could look. Children will use language and develop vocabulary by using words to describe types of buildings, shapes, and structures. Teachers will also enhance children's language development by asking open-ended questions that encourage children to think and provide more complex answers. They could add a lot of language for children as well by narrating what the children are doing while in the block area. And they can add new words and explain what they mean to the children. Don't forget about all the language they are using as they are working with their peers. As you watch this brief clip, take notice of all the skills children are using as they play in the block area. and how it is adding so much learning during their experience.
I need another long one. There is no more long one.
You want to see a lot of language in this kind of play setting.
Maybe we can do this. No. No. This is a long one.
In this short clip, we saw the opportunities for learning that block play gave to these children. First, they were in communication with each other. They were socially interacting and were using language, which can only occur when children have the opportunity to play. They were using math terms and were thinking about the length of blocks. One child took the time to problem solve for their peer and try to help. He even went over and put 2 blocks together to make a longer block for them. Also, as he stacked one on top of the other and held them both in one hand, he was balancing them and using those motor skills. The child who was upset because there were no more long blocks to use was working to overcome that frustration and was developing his self-control. But what exactly is a block? Blocks are geometric shapes with smooth sides that do not connect and can easily fall over when stacked. Blocks are building materials that do not restrict children by having to fit pieces together in a special way, but challenge them to carefully place and balance materials to create a variety of structures. Blocks do not include small blocks, sometimes called tabletop blocks, with sides that are less than 2 inches in length, or any size of interlocking building materials that fit together. These are considered fine motor materials. Look at the 3 types of materials on the slide: color cubes, building bricks, and large hollow pieces. Which one of these is considered a block? The answer is C, large hollow blocks. The color cubes can be confusing because they do stack and slide. However, these table blocks are smaller than 2 inches in length. Additionally, the building bricks fit together. Both of these are considered fine motor materials, not blocks. Look at the 3 types of materials on the slide: nesting stacking cups, large foam pieces, and log builders. Which one of these are considered a block? The answer is B, large foam blocks. The nesting stacking cups and log builders can be stacked, but the pieces connect together, and they are both considered fine motor materials, not blocks. Look at the 3 types of materials on the slide: wooden units, magnetic tiles, and cardboard pieces. Which one of these is not considered a block? The answer is B, magnetic tiles. The magnetic tiles connect together and are considered a fine motor material. The wooden unit blocks and cardboard blocks stack and slide and allow children to carefully place and balance the materials to create structures. Here is a list of the different types of blocks. Unit blocks can be made from various materials and are typically triangles, rectangles, squares, cylinders, and arches. The important thing about unit blocks is the size relationship between them. The smaller blocks represent fractions of the larger blocks. For example, 2 smaller square blocks equal the size of 1 longer block. This helps children learn math concepts as they play with blocks. Large hollow blocks and homemade blocks are able to be used just like unit blocks to stack and build sizable structures. And cloth or vinyl covered soft blocks, which are typically used in infant and young toddler classrooms. A note to mention about types of blocks. Within the Eckers 3, only 2 types of blocks are considered: unit blocks and large hollow blocks. Also, in regards to safety, when children use such materials, things such as splinters, staples, sharp edges, etc., should be considered for children's safety. Block accessories are appropriately sized toys that stimulate and expand block play. Accessories should be stored near the blocks so children know they are meant to be used with blocks. Children should not have to search for accessories in other areas of the classroom. Accessories should be organized by type: people, animals, and vehicles in separate containers. Children should be able to clearly see the types of accessories they can choose from and should not have to search through blocks or mixed toys to find more accessories of the same type. Enough accessories should be accessible for children during block play so that they do not have to compete over toys or wait long periods to use the accessories. You want to have a variety of accessories to allow for many different themes during block play. For example, variety in the types of accessories you could have include various transportation vehicles: cars, motorcycles, trains, and airplanes; people of diverse genders, ages, races, and differing abilities; and various animals: dinosaurs, zoo animals, and farm animals. You can have other accessories too, like road signs, small trees, fences, building toppers. Anything appropriately sized that would enhance block play. But the three main types of accessories, people, animals, and vehicles, are important to have accessible and are expected for ERS. A note in regards to safety: do not provide any small pieces or accessories that young children can choke on. Block accessories should add to, rather than detract from block play. And they should not be types that would disrupt or take attention from block play. Accessories should not be stored together in the same container or in other areas of the classroom, and they should not interfere with or interrupt block play. Certain toys are not considered block accessories and should not be stored with blocks, such as fine motor materials, which can distract or take away from the possibilities of block play. Many classrooms have a fine motor or manipulatives area where these types of toys could be stored and used, because they are still important materials to have accessible to children. Woodworking tools, which are typically used for hammering on blocks and not for building with them. Toy buildings or dollhouses. When used in the block area, these items take up much of the space available for block building. Additionally, these materials encourage more dramatic play than block play. And big trucks, which are typically used by children for gross motor activity. They are not appropriately sized vehicles to encourage and enhance block play. Take a look at this picture. Are these vehicle and animal accessories in the block area? In this picture, the animals and vehicles are not stored with any blocks. As there is a soft cushion, stuffed animals, and some books, this may be a reading area. There are also some building bricks in the drawer with the animals as well, which are fine motor materials. Remember that block accessories should be stored near the blocks. Children should not have to search for accessories in other areas of the classroom. If you have a separate block center, make sure the accessories are stored in this area with the blocks. In some classrooms, we sometimes see animals stored in the science area and wooden people in dramatic play, but none with blocks. It's not that those types of accessories can't be available in those other areas as well, but they should be accessible to children in the block center. How about this picture? Do these trucks count as a block accessory? These are big trucks, which are usually used by children for gross motor activity and are too large to be a part of block play. They would be used for other purposes, like carrying the blocks as opposed to encouraging the blocks to be built with, like we see in this picture. These large trucks might interfere with children's block play as they are used in this area. You should have appropriately sized vehicles accessible for children to use in the block area. There are many things to consider when setting up a block center. Space. The Eckers-R recommends that the block play area should be large enough to allow at least 3 children to build sizable structures. Plus, don't forget about room for you as you work with them in this area. The space in a classroom for block play is critical, since preschoolers will be doing more constructive play, where larger complex structures are made with larger sized blocks and many children working together. It is essential the block space is uncrowded and large enough to accommodate this type of play. Location. This center should be spacious and set up in an area that is free from other distractions and out of traffic. If the block area is shared with other materials or equipment, is located in the center of the classroom, or is in a doorway path, the traffic from other adults and children through this area will interrupt children's block play and could cause other problems, like stepping on or knocking over children's built structures. Additionally, block play is more vigorous and louder than other classroom areas and should be located by other more active, loud centers, like dramatic play or music, and not near quiet classroom areas, like the cozy area, books, or listening. Surfacing. Provide a stable, flat surface for building. A rug will not only help to define the area, but it also helps to reduce noise and provides a comfortable work surface for children. Storage. Place the blocks and additional materials in storage containers on low, wide shelves that give children easy access. Blocks and accessories should be separated by type, and labels used should include both the words and picture of each material. With preschool children and older, you can take your labels even further with blocks. You can label your shelves with the actual size of each block shape, and children can then match the shape with the block during cleanup. Number of blocks. This varies depending on the age and ability of the children. For toddlers, at least 3 sets of blocks should be accessible, each containing 10 or more blocks. For preschoolers that build larger structures, at least 2 types should be provided, but a larger number of each should be available for each child allowed in the block center at the same time. Additionally, the size of the block should be considered when determining the amount. More blocks would be needed if the size is smaller, and fewer would be needed if the size was larger. If your block area is small, try one or more of the following strategies to make it more spacious. Eliminate extra furniture within your classroom, like adult-sized desks, file cabinets, unused tables, or storage cabinets, as the interest centers in your classroom are the main focus. Use hallways for coats, cubbies, and extra storage. You could also add blocks and building materials outside for the children to use. As you have just learned a bit about setting up a block center, take a look at both of these pictures. Are these pictures showing a special block area? In the first picture, you see a variety of materials: blocks, a ball, a chalkboard, rocking horse, and there are even bowling pins on the shelf. All of these materials are being used in the same space. In the second picture, you also see a variety of materials: building bricks, waffle blocks, pots and pans, and plastic and wooden blocks. All of these materials are stored on the same shelf and are probably being used within the same space. These pictures are not showing block areas that won't be disrupted by children getting or using other materials within the area. We are going to watch a couple brief clips of some classroom block centers.
It's very important for teachers in the beginning of a school year to create a culture around a block building, and that happens before the children even first come into the classroom.
I'm making my own building.
I think the arrangement of the block area in any teacher's classroom is crucial to the experience the children will have. The larger the space the children can be given to interact with blocks open-endedly, the richer the experience will be, and the more children will be able to be involved and interact together.
Now this video does show a very large block center. Of course, many classrooms do not have this type of space available. But you'll notice that because of the large amount of space they had available, they allowed a large number of children to use the space at the same time. ERS is just looking for a space large enough to accommodate 3 children building sizable structures. Here is another example of a classroom block area, just to provide you with some different examples and show what they include in this area.
My name is Eudora Harden, and I am going to give you guys a tour of my block center. I have incorporated pictures of children actually building things in my block center. I have a variety of different blocks, different shapes, so the kids can explore. They're not limited by just one type of block. In this center, we've given them a variety of blocks. We've incorporated block people. We've made block people. They have pictures on the front of them. This allows them to see actual family members. They like to build with those. These arch blocks can be used for a variety of things. Children like to use these to build ramps or to create tunnels. This gives us an opportunity to use positional words like under. Oftentimes I've noticed that they've used their cars to go under the ramp, or they may even go over the ramp. And sometimes they even take them and they use it like a skateboard ramp.
But what does block play look like? It will look different depending on the age level of the child. In the next few slides, we will look at each individual age group. Infants explore blocks by using their senses: touch, sight, taste, and sound. Infant block play may include holding, squeezing, mouthing, or dropping blocks, manipulating and feeling blocks, reaching for blocks near where they are playing, banging blocks together or on another surface to explore sound, and filling small containers with blocks and dumping them out. A note to mention in regards to the infant age group: the ITRS-R block item is scored NA if all children enrolled in the group being observed are under 12 months of age, even if blocks are accessible and used by the infants. However, if there are some children under 12 months of age and some children 12 months and older, then this item will be scored. Young toddlers are still exploring blocks with their senses, how they look, feel, and sound. Toddler block play may include picking up blocks, carrying them around, and tossing them, filling small containers with blocks and dumping them out. Older toddlers may begin arranging blocks side by side on the floor or stacking them vertically. They may knock down their towers and build them up again just to knock them back down. And they may crash toys into their towers in an effort to knock them down. These are ways that toddlers develop fine motor skills and explore concepts like early math, geometry, problem solving, and cause and effect. If a toddler is throwing the blocks, provide them with something they can throw the blocks into. And don't discourage your child from knocking down their creations. It's part of the learning process, but make sure that they learn to respect others' creations. Preschoolers use blocks with more intention and purpose. Their buildings become more representative of real objects. A row of blocks may be a road. Stacked blocks may be a house, or a fence may be created for their farm animals. As their block play becomes more complex, so does their concentration level. Block play for preschoolers may include stacking tall towers, sometimes even as tall or taller than their own height, building walls and bridges, building structures with many parts, organizing blocks for other play purposes, like laying them out for a road, and using persistence and problem solving when their structure collapses. As children get older, their block building becomes more involved. They have the dexterity and patience to build more intricate structures. Block play for school-aged children may include planning their structure before carrying it out, building larger, more elaborate structures, adding additional details to their structures, such as stairs, tunnels, and long bridges, and adding pieces to their structures for decoration. An ERS note. While the Itters and Eckers scale items are looking specifically at blocks, the Sakers U item is titled Blocks and Construction. This item looks to see that school-age children have access to both blocks and interlocking construction materials. Blocks do not need to be separated into a different space, and the area can contain fine motor building materials. So if you do use a shared classroom, for example, a pre-K group during the day and school-age children before and after school, the ERS scores you see may look different because the items in each age-specific scale book have different expectations. Take a moment to think and reflect on what role you usually take when children are exploring blocks. What do you do or say to expand children's block play? Here are a list of some things you can do to support children's block play. Provide ample time for open-ended exploration. Get down on the floor and build with them. Use role play with the people and other accessories. Encourage cooperative building. Describe, explain, and expand on what children say and do. Have conversations with the children, respond with thoughtful feedback, and add new vocabulary. Challenge children to think by asking open-ended questions. Make connections with other areas of learning and children's real lives. And let the children take risks and let their block structure fall over. This allows you opportunities to encourage them to keep trying and to problem solve. These are techniques you can and should use with children of any age group. On the next couple slides, we are going to look at each individual age group and look at some additional ways you could support them specifically during block play. Supporting block play for infants and toddlers. With infants, provide language by narrating what they are doing with and how they are using the blocks. Narration was mentioned in the previous slide because it is important to do with all ages, but it is highlighted here for infants because their language is just beginning, and this is key. Promote their large muscle development by placing a soft block on the floor several feet from a crawling baby. Make it a game and encourage the child to crawl to get the block. If they aren't crawling yet and it's tummy time, put the block right out of reach and encourage them to reach for it. Infants are also learning about object permanence, so you could even just hide a block or cover it with a blanket, somewhere they could easily find it. This simple activity demonstrates to the child that just because something can't be seen immediately doesn't mean it's gone forever. With toddlers, allow them to get the blocks themselves and help to put them away. Give toddlers lots of space for block play so they can move around without tripping or falling into their blocks. They are just beginning to become more stable as they stand and walk, so this space is important. Supporting block play for preschool and school-age children. With preschoolers, store blocks in an area they can reach them easily and put them away. And make sure to give them toy people, animals, and vehicles to use during block play. When possible, allow for built structures to remain untouched instead of putting them away after use. Oftentimes, children are self-motivated to return to their structure to continue working. You can use signs that say "under construction" or "do not disturb" to show that children are still working on a structure. If you are not able to do this based on your space, maybe take a picture of their creation and display it in the block area. They can then recreate it or adjust it next time, but they are still able to utilize what they previously built. With school-age children, give them free time to build with blocks in any way they want. Ask these children to help preschoolers with block building if they share the same classroom space. Show the children pictures of bridges and buildings and ask if they would like to try building the same bridges or buildings with blocks. Incorporating other concepts into blocks. Yes, it is important to create an area specific to block building, with all of the needed space and materials. This helps to organize and enhance children's play and cleanup. But as you work with them, you can expand on their play based on what they are doing and keep the attention focused on block play. Now, this doesn't mean going in and changing the focus of their play based on your objectives and what you want them to do, but to follow their lead and add based on their interest and what they are focusing on. Make sure to tie it into what they are doing. A few math ideas. Unit blocks come in so many different shapes, but they are more than just a square, triangle, or rectangle. Teach them the three-dimensional terms because that is what they are using. A cube, a cylinder, a pyramid. Teach children how to use different measuring tools, like measuring tapes and rulers. They can measure specific blocks, their creations, and compare them to their peers' creation. Another tool is a level. This would help them to make sure their blocks are straight as they build, because who wants a crooked house? Some art ideas. Display photos of real buildings, bridges, cities, farms, etc. in the block area. Discuss the structures, the architectural elements of the buildings, and encourage them to try and recreate the buildings with the blocks. Create shapes pictures that are the same size and shape of the blocks in the block area. Display them and children can try to recreate them. Add blueprints of building structures. Add picture explanations of how to make some specific things with blocks. Have children draw what they plan to build. Add clipboards with paper and pencils or markers to encourage this. Make homemade blocks with the children. Of course, this isn't done with children while in the block area, but after they are created, children can decorate them and they can be added to the block area to be used for building. Add some small fabric swatches for added decoration to their creations. They might want to add curtains, a bedspread, or something else. Some language ideas. Just labeling the blocks and materials with pictures and words is promoting print awareness. If you include the paper and pencils, then you have writing material to encourage them to also write the words for what they are planning to build. Add books about building and construction to the block area. Add different maps. You can add one local to your state or area, and you can even create ones that are simpler and more specific to your local town or city as well. You can point out the words on accessories, for example on street signs or building topper blocks. Have conversations with the children about their constructions and introduce new vocabulary. Have the children make their own signs for the block area to encourage their use of writing. Maybe additional street signs they need, a work in progress sign, or signs for what they have built, maybe a sign for their store, restaurant, or hospital. They can even build pieces or props to retell a story and role play. As you watch this brief clip, take notice to what this teacher incorporated into her block center and how she utilized it during block play to enhance this child's block play experience and expand her learning.
So I've added these photos to give children more insight on actual buildings so they can have something to base their buildings on. We talk about the different columns, the architecture details, the steps that lead up to the building. In this photo, we talk about the bay windows and the arch doors. An example happened today where children were building in Block Center. Oh, you like that picture? What do you like about it?
Just like that.
Oh, you like the roof? What about that roof you like?
Maybe it's like a castle.
Oh, the castle? What kind of blocks could we use to make a roof like that?
You build it, a triangle.
Oh, do we have any triangle blocks in here we could use? Maybe we can make a roof like that one? Let's experiment with it.
In this clip, the teacher incorporated some art and thought about how it could enhance children's block play. She took notice to a child that was interested in and looking at one of the displayed photos, so she started a conversation with them, asked open-ended questions to get some insight from the child, and then transitioned into how they could incorporate what they were discussing into the child's use of blocks. Here are a few resources that can help as you move forward and build quality in your block center. Additionally, the PQA team, along with the ELRC quality coaches, are always available to answer any questions or provide assistance if needed. Here are the references for each video clip viewed during this session. The additional resource video was not watched during this webinar, but it has been added to provide you with a video that shows adults supporting children's block building and not stepping in to stop their process. The child in this video is stacking blocks very high. She is balancing them and trying to go as high as she can without them falling over. You'll even see another child get involved and actually start counting how many blocks high the tower is. The teachers remind them to be careful, but don't discourage them. The block center in this video also provides enough space, so there was enough room for the tower to fall over safely in the end. Thank you for taking the time to view the Building Knowledge About Blocks webinar. We hope you found this information helpful as you return to your classroom and move forward with enhancing your block center.